I never really understood the big deal when it came to weddings. But since moving back home to Nigeria 6 years ago and getting married, I soon found out how big a deal it really is. But what happens once the party's over and it's just the two of you? I started to think about this. As much as I've heard about the romance of it all, I've also heard about the stress, the fallouts, fights, and everything in between. Divorced after 6 months, happy being a mistress, the 7-year itch, 8 years dating but no ring in sight. The topics were endless. So I wanted to see what regular people had to say on these topics. I've spoken to single people, married people, and counselors. Maybe if we're all open about our experiences, someone out there may be able to take something good out of this. And I might learn a thing or two myself. Hi guys, and welcome to So You Want to Get Married. So You Want to Get Married is table talk where we talk about anything and everything to do with love, dating, marriage, sex. You know how it goes. Today we're joined by two lovely ladies. First up, we've got sex coach Wunmi Omololu, and we have got sex educator Yeside Olayinka. Hi ladies.
Hello.
How you doing?
Very well.
You guys look fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so yeah, I know we've got a sex coach and a sex educator. So today's topic is, how important is sex in a marriage? I think a lot of people are going to be intrigued by this topic. They're going to be intrigued by this episode because I feel like in our culture, we don't really talk about sex openly. And it's just so amazing that I was able to get in touch with you two women who I mean, this is kind of what you do for a living. So thank you so much for being here. So, Wunmi, I'm going to start with you. How is it necessary to have sex to have a happy marriage? Do you have to be having sex to have a happy marriage? Okay, why do you think that is?
Because let me put it this way. Marriage is like having 3-legged stool.
Okay.
One is for mental connection, the second one physical, and the third one, sexual intimacy.
Yeah.
Imagine if one is missing, the stool won't be able to balance. And the way God has designed marriage, and sex in marriage is supposed to be a very, very important aspect of marriage.
Yeah.
Marriage without sex is like, just having your salad without
dressing. I like that.
So.
Okay, cool. Yesterday, what do you think?
Just to piggyback off what Wunmi said, really and truly, I don't think you can really have a happy marriage without sex, without good sex, actually. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a Maradona, know everything, all the moves in the Kama Sutra or something, but just that connection. It's very important in a marriage to have that connection because it plays into other parts.
Okay. Valid points. So what if you've been married for like a decade or so and you feel like it's the same routine, or you feel like it's a chore? What would you say to couples who are kind of feeling this type of way? They just feel like it's the same old thing, it's monotonous, and okay, maybe she wants it and he doesn't, or he wants it and she doesn't, and they feel that they're not as compatible as they once were. What would you say to couples like that?
First thing is, I remember there was this experiment that some couple did where they were starting to feel that sex was becoming monotonous and becoming a chore, and so they decided they were going to have sex every day for a year.
I read this somewhere, yeah.
And the initially when they started having sex, it was just like same old,
just do it.
Yeah.
But then little by little they started to look forward to it, finding different things. It's like you don't have to have it in the bedroom all the time.
Exactly.
There are other parts of your house that you can. I mean, bear in mind if you have children, if you have other people living with you, but you can do it in the car.
So basically they started to
explore other options, explore different settings, explore what do you like, explore different positions, actually research it. I don't think a lot of people do that enough. They just think, oh, it's supposed to be good between us just by
So you're saying that you basically have to put the work in?
You do.
Yes, you have to work, you have to apply some. In this kind of situation, sex toys can come in.
Okay.
To spice up things, to change, and then you have to communicate. You have to talk to each other what you like, what you want. And I always say something, men don't really know much about a woman's body. A woman has so many spots on her body that can just trigger an orgasm.
Very true.
But men don't understand. A lot of men, what they have in their head is the vagina.
Go in,
Yeah,
come out.
and just keep trusting. And okay, they don't need, some of them don't even care if their wife had an orgasm.
Yeah,
So far they are done, they are fine. Do you
Yeah.
understand? But recently or lately, men started coming up to me asking me, "So where exactly is the G spot?
Okay.
What exactly is this?"
Well, you see, that's great. You
how do
touched
I
on the
find
subject.
it?
You said, that a lot of men, or some men, don't particularly care. As long as they've climaxed, then they're fine.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to those guys? Because clearly, I mean, their wives cannot be satisfied 100% if the guy is he's doing his business and then he's done and she's just there waiting, So what would you say?
I actually have like a paper where a woman's body is drawn,
And then the
each
spots?
spot is written,
Wow.
like what to do to each spot on her body. And then I'll tell that man, you know what, just go home for a whole 1 month. Do this to your wife. Try as much as possible not to touch her and think about sex.
Okay.
Touch her and not think about sex.
Yeah.
She'll start melting and give into it. A woman, they said, the sex organ of a woman's body is her brain,
Yeah,
not her vagina.
exactly.
Her
Yeah.
vagina is far away from
Yeah.
it. It's the brain that will send the signal to the vagina. Do you understand? So if the brain doesn't send the signal and the woman is feeling somehow like there's a relationship issue in the marriage,
Yeah.
that can make sex a chore.
So yesterday I was asking you about, we know that women, they're connected to their emotions in regards to sex. So with men, can it be similar? I know it can't be as much or as heightened. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, men definitely, their emotions play into their sexual drive.
Okay.
But I think usually those emotions are usually sometimes tied with like finances or work. If a guy is having issues with money,
Then
really stressed at work,
it's gonna
then
reflect.
it usually tends to reflect in his libido. So, or his performance, like she said. So, you come home and maybe he's someone that likes to have sex 3, 4, 5 times a week. And now it's like once a week, or the wife is actually the one pulling and trying and wondering what's going on. But he needs to deal with his mental issues, his issues, whatever, is working in the background so that he can have
that's
great
that's
sex.
really, really interesting. And just touching on someone having low libido. So let's say it's actually nothing to do with work or like a woman's emotions. What if your partner just has a low libido? So what are you meant to do then?
You're supposed to find out what exactly is causing that low libido.
So it's going to come from somewhere or
Exactly,
something.
because it could be physical, it could be psychological, anything. It could be. I actually say men that have like low libido or erectile dysfunction. It could be a pointer to one particular health issue in their body, and they don't know.
So how do they find out what it is? Are they supposed to go to the doctor?
Yeah, they should go to the doctor, but most of our patients are very, very shy when it comes to talking about sex with their doctor. You find out that this is what this particular patient is here for, or you find them beating around the bush. They are not talking. Just until you're about to write a prescription. Oh, doctor, there's one more thing. Hey, I found out that my manhood is not coming up. Do you know what? And then you have lots of patients waiting, be like, I'm about to finish with you. Okay, then let me start. I have to educate you. I have to tell you, why don't you do this, do that, send you to do some investigations and all that, so that I'll be able to rule out any health issue. Then if it's psychological, then we have to talk about counseling, and then we have to start educating that man or that woman or something. Basically, there's always a problem. There's always something linked to that low libido. Low libido just doesn't
appear from nowhere, right?
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So if it's a couple, a married couple, and they've been together for a substantial amount of time, how do they keep things interesting? So if someone comes to you guys and they're like, you know what, even if it's a friend and it's just like, everything's great, our marriage is great, we've got a good marriage, but I just want to spice things up and I just feel like we're just doing the same old thing. What would you tell them? What advice would you give? So for our listeners out there, if there's anyone in their marriage and they want to surprise their husband or they want to surprise their wife, just give a couple of tips they can do.
Well, I would say, maybe look into other sexual positions that you can try. Like I had mentioned earlier, you can always look into having sex in different places. Let it not just be having sex at night. you know, when it's time for bed. You know, you can have sex in the morning.
Morning sex is actually very, very good for the man and even for the woman. It's just
It gives you this energy.
Yeah.
Like you'll be
be
surprised
glowing.
how great you'll be at work.
Zeal off to go to
You
go
know,
to
like
work.
you'll be at work performing at 110.
I'm glowing at work. Even your colleagues will have to.
What's going on?
You know, like, you know, you can have sex in the afternoon, you can have sex like whenever. It doesn't have
Basically,
to
don't
be,
just limit it to when you're
Night.
going to
you know,
bed.
like our culture is you're going to bed, okay, now it's sexy time. But sexy time is every time.
Every time.
You know,
So what other
during
things?
the
What about
day,
like what you wear to bed?
no
Oh,
hairnets.
that's very, very exactly. No
hairnet.
hairnet.
My sister,
No hairnet.
Take those
virtual.
hairnets off.
No
Hairnets.
hairnet. No scarf. And please don't wear grandma.
Tie wrapper.
Don't wear grandma pajamas or grandma
Get
90.
some nice lingerie.
Show some
booty
skin.
shorts.
You know, take them clothes
And
off.
please,
isn't it?
no lingerie also.
You know,
No bra, no pants. Just yourself in
Yeah.
some, you know, like transparent sexy.
during the day, send some nice messages.
Yeah.
You know,
That-
they don't have
those
to
are
be
good,
naked
yeah.
pictures or
No,
very
no.
explicit messages.
Exactly.
No naked
But I'm
pictures.
just saying that, like, you know, you can always, you know, send suggestive messages. They don't
Yeah.
have to be X-rated,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing
So
this,
the
like,
person
you know,
looks
those
forward
are-
to
so
going
that
there.
you're already built because most
Yeah.
of the time,
You're building
especially
it up
for
already.
women, sex doesn't start at
Immediately.
10 or 11 p.m. when you want to have sex. It's you've been building
From the
it up
morning.
through the day. So like
Yeah.
she's getting ready, her body's getting prepared
Nice.
for
You even look at her and say, oh, you look so nice. Just something on her shoulder. Give her a nice
hug.
peck on the
You know,
neck.
just touching.
Just something.
In the
Yeah,
middle of
your
the day.
husband is enjoying it. Your husband is enjoying it. All right, guys. Well, you've made so many valid points, and I really hope that our viewers at home have learned something from this. You know, I love especially the part about what you're going to wear to bed or the messages that you can send. Really, really valid points, and I think you're going to have helped a lot of people. So thank you so much. But before we go, it's time for our question of the day, and our question of the day tends to be unrelated to the actual topic. So it's sent into our Facebook page or to our email, and it's just to see what our guests think and what their advice would be. All right. So our question of the day is: I'm dating this amazing guy, and the problem is he's my best friend's ex. She was dating him, and we started seeing each other 4 months after they broke up. She cut me off, and I respect her decision. I'm finding it hard to move on from hurting her. So she's dating her best friend's ex 4 months after they dated. The best friend has cut her off. She's fine because she understands, obviously, but she can't get over the fact that she hurt her, but she's still with this guy. So what would your advice be? I know it's a tricky one, it's a tough one.
Very, very.
To be honest,
You're about to say what she did was foul, right?
I mean,
You're gonna say that's foul.
I think there's some unwritten cardinal rules.
Girl code,
You
you just don't.
date. Not just even, this is not your friend, your best,
Best friend.
friend. So I'm to believe that at some point they were all hanging out together. Were you looking at him then? You know, was he looking at you? You know, those are a lot of things.
Because that's what's going to be going through her friend's
friend's
mind.
mind,
Like, the whole
exactly.
time you
And
wanted
then
my guy.
The truth of the matter is, even the guy you're dating, how is he going to be thinking about you? You know, because I mean, he's probably thinking, okay, I'm just going to hit it and
Move on.
because it's not likely that he'll be
He
thinking
likes you
about
and wants to
like,
settle
I
down.
want to settle down with you or anything like that. Because I mean, what does that say about? I mean, it does happen. I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if she's feeling bad, if she's feeling that bad and
There's-
she's not able to move on, then she needs to search herself to
Deeply.
find out. There's something, you know, there's something that's niggling her.
Yeah.
She's, you know, she's feeling that way because she probably does not feel right
Exactly.
about the relationship.
With that guy.
Yeah.
And I also think she has to choose which she values. Is it with her friends, a friendship with her friend, or
yeah.
this so-called relationship with her friend's ex?
Exactly.
So
I
I think
mean-
she just has to weigh the two and know what she wants. because
Exactly.
It
I
doesn't
think-
make any sense.
I think for me, what stood out was the fact that she said she's finding it hard to move,
move on.
If you're finding it so hard, that means you know
Then-
you've done a foul thing.
Something's
So you should
not
probably
right.
just get out of the relationship. All right, ladies, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I mean, your advice was great. And I really hope that people have learned a lot from this episode. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for yet another episode of So You Want to Get Married. We will see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye.